Okay, hello Tube Dwellers and welcome to the finals of the third season Grand Global Tournament. Hello from me, the Arcadean, and from my co-host, Samurai Quack. So, as with yesterday's tournament stream, we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to settle in, and then we will make a start on it. So, our first couple of fights, I know we're looking over there, things right here. Our first fight is going to be Lucarii versus Mr. Ru. Then it's going to be Aria versus Gin-Tonics. Then Abri versus Hertberken, and Onii-Sama versus Nyx Stalker. So, place your bets. SWAT, greetings. James, yes, okay. Lee, howdy. James, Ark, where's the more than survive? I don't know. It sounds like a reference to something that I'm a little too out of it to recognize. Clarity, please. Luke, hello. Sabrosona, hello. Good, good. Glad to see that the duelists are beginning to swarm in. So, Luke is here. We're waiting for Rice and Pie to make his appearance so that we can make a start. So, who does everybody think is going to emerge victorious from today's finals? Cast your votes, etc., in the chat. Personally, I have no idea who's going to win these fights. I mean, Luke versus Ru, Aria versus Gin-Tonics, Abri versus Hertberk, and Onii-Sama versus Nyx Stalker. Any of these fights could go any way. So it should be really, really interesting. And fascinating to see who will end up becoming our third legend. Kengi, yo, welcome, hello. James, Ark, you promised to play the song. Don't want to copywriting on my channel. Yes. No, I am not going to be playing any songs from any musicals. I really don't need any more shit from YouTube. Thank you. Kengi, Sabrosona, sinner for sure. Well, they might be a sinner, but will they be a winner? Kengi corrects it, but it's too late. I've already made my joke. It's done. Ooh, let's see. SWAT rooting for Lucarii, but thinks Sabrosona is going to win. Griffin, hello. Gin-Tonics, welcome, welcome. Kengi, what with keyboard? Yes, your keyboard's misbehaving. We know. Alright, so let's say we will start the fight in 2 minutes at 5 past. If Rice and Pie is not around by then, the match will go automatically to Luke. So let's see. So Rice and Pie, Mr. Ru, if you are around, please comment in the chat to let me know. I know that Luke Cry is already here, so that's fine. Aria, hello. Good. So Aria and Gin-Tonics are here. At least we've got both of our fighters for the next match. Good, good. And remember, we will be spinning the duck to decide who goes first. So please don't send any battle requests until I have spun the duck. Because whoever sends the battle request is the one that plays first. So it's quite important. It's blank. Hello. Good, good. So we've got another one of our tournament participants has jumped in. Excellent. Alright, 1 minute until the battle between Lucarii and Mr. Ru is ready to start. Nyx, hello, welcome, good. Alright, so we've got Onii-Sama and Nyx are here, Aria and Gin-Tonics are here, and we've got Luke and we've got Hertberken. SWAT, so Rai won with disqualification, now he's getting disqualified. Who knows? Who knows? Sabrosona, if you guys still saying that I'm going to win and I lose, I'm going to feel really bad. Yes, so much pressure to live up to. Alright, what are we at? I'm going to bring up this timer so that I can start timing as soon as we hit 5 past. So 10 minutes to go until the match is due to start, and I will start the 5-minute timer for Rice and Pie. Also, has anybody else noticed that there's a really weird pattern happening on these brackets? On the left-hand side, everybody who's on the top position lost, and on the right-hand side, everybody who's on the bottom position lost. Okay, so that's past the... That's 5, so we've got 45 seconds plus 4 minutes until Rice and Pie is going to be disqualified. So Rice and Pie, or if anybody knows Rice and Pie, get in touch with them quick, quick, quick. Otherwise, they will end up disqualified. 4.5 minutes. 4.5 minutes. Let's reduce that temporarily. That'd be ridiculous, says Lukaku, and that would indeed be ridiculous. We already had Gluel 1 had to drop out because they just couldn't make it in time. So yeah, if Ryzenpai also gets disqualified for not showing up, that would be weird. But it would kind of cancel out that entire bracket there, so I guess it's sort of fair. I don't know. As I say, I know that some of you know Ryzenpai, so get in touch with him if he's if you have any way of doing so. James, good luck everyone, by the way. Yes, good luck to all the participants. Griffin, oof, wake up early to cheer on Lukaku, and this is what happens. Well, we are doing the semi-finals and the finals today, so if Mr. Rue gets disqualified, or even if he doesn't, Lukaku may very well still move up to the semi-finals, and then you can cheer for him, and then possibly in the finals. Okay. Gengi, you have make my prediction correct, Persona. Griffin, it's not that early. Okay, good. Still a bit more than 3 minutes to go. Yes. 3 minutes and 10 seconds. 3 minutes and 10 seconds, Ryzenpai. Quick, quick, quick. I'm just going to scroll down here and select that in anticipation. In fact, not that one. That one. There we go. Aria, I'm still trembling. Don't panic. It'll be fine. Either you'll win or you'll lose. Either way, hopefully you'll have fun. I know the spectators will. Rudy, hello. Hello, welcome. Relax, Aria, relax. Nobody's judging you. You already made it through the qualifier round, so you have nothing left to prove. Evil Bard, hello. So what, Aria is your excuse for losing ready? Mean. Aria, my A++ luck, don't fail me now. Yes. I see Kengi's trying to get in touch with Ryzenpai on the Discord. Good luck to that. Luke, you're only against the person who took down the tournament favorite. Yes. Don't panic, Aria. You're just beating the guy who knocked Kingi out in the first round. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Turbament finals. Actually, I should call one of the... we should have like a quick-paced tournament that we call the Turbomint. That would be pretty fun, right? Or is my love of puns just getting the better of me? We don't know. Mr. Rudek is still unknown. Yes, we actually don't know what Ryzenpai is running, so Lukaku is working at a slight disadvantage here if Ryzenpai actually shows up. But 1 minute and 35 seconds to go. Evil Bard, is that fair for Lukaku? I mean, it makes it slightly unbalanced, but there's really nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. Aria made it through because of mere luck. Not mere luck. You know, your opponent made one bad discard, but your opponent making one mistake is not you being lucky. You wouldn't have won anyway. I mean, I've made like 5 or 6 mistakes in a single match, and I've still won before. So yeah, your opponent making one mistake doesn't mean that you got lucky with your victory. Skill also had to play a big part. SWAT has decided to judge Aria, which basically what SWAT is saying there is, Dear Arcadian, please ban me. Please ban me now. I'm listening, SWAT. Don't worry, I will fulfill your secret request. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? 30 seconds, starting now. Ryzenpai, if you do not send me a message within the next 30 seconds, I'm afraid Lukaku automatically moves up to the semi-finals. 20 seconds. Dun dun dun. 15 seconds. Are we going to see a James Bond-like dive in or what? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bah, there goes the buzzer, and Ryzenpai is disqualified. Boom, boom, boom. So what? I know you're too soft for that. Yeah, keep pushing me, buddy. So, Lukaku moves up into the semi-finals. Congratulations to Lukaku. That entire top corner bracket there has just been seeing quite a fair number of disqualifications. Nevertheless, Luke is now into the semi-finals. He's here, he's here, he's here, he's here. People are shouting. Wait, Ryzenpai. Okay, because he was literally, according to the timestamp, 1 second late, Lukaku gets to choose. Technically, he was 5 minutes and 1 second late. So if Lukaku chooses the disqualification can stand. But if Lucarcry says to fight, we will allow the fight to go through. Lucarcry, it's up to you. The delay is real. The delay is on about 30 seconds. 30 seconds between things happening and me seeing them. So, Lucarcry, we're waiting for your decision. Do you want to let Rai Senpai sort of... do you want to overturn the disqualification? It's completely legal. Nobody will judge you if you say let the disqualification stand. Everybody was told to be around half an hour before the tournament started. So, Luke's going to toss a coin. Okay. No judgment either way. Because everyone was told to be around half an hour beforehand. So, spin the duck. I'm not spinning the duck. This is up to Luke. Technically, Rai Senpai is disqualified. But Luke can decide to bring him back in if he wants to. No judgments either way. As I say, it would be completely legal. People are chanting, fight, fight, fight. Yeah, let's see. As I say, it's completely up to Luke. She's going to flip a coin. Okay, Luke's going to fight. Alrighty, then I will move that right back down again. Boom. There we go. Alright, so it looks like we are going to see a fight between Rai Senpai and Lucarcry. So, if the duck is facing towards camera, Lucarcry sends the battle request. If the duck is facing away from the camera, Rai Senpai will send the battle request. Alrighty, let's go. Spin, spin, spin. Okay, fell off the desk one more time. Oh, he's doing some sort of weird disco dance. Alright, it is facing towards the camera. Rai Senpai will send the battle request. Rai Senpai, please challenge Lucarcry to a fight. Let me see. Just sudden whoo of chat. I'm imagining Rain was late going into a building full of jewelers with bread in his mouth. I don't know. Rai made it in time in the chat, but Ark wasn't able to get it that fast. Technically, no. Technically, he, according to the chat time log, it was 14:10:01. He was literally 1 second over time. Hello, good luck everyone, says Melissa. Luke, I don't care. I'm here for entertainment. It's a good attitude. Gin-Tonics, fight, fight, fight. Yep. As soon as Rai Senpai gets online. I don't see him online just yet, so he's got to boot his phone up, I'm sure. Kengi, I'm with Luke for this battle. Go, go, go. Alright, I see Rai Senpai's logged in. So, Rai Senpai, send Lucarcry a battle request, please. Rai Senpai, send Lucarcry a battle request. Best of luck, Lucarcry, shouts Griffin. So Luke's got a lot of fans in her corner. Let's see how this goes. Well, Aria's cheering for Rai. Come on. Just waiting for the transition to begin. Evil Bart, are you on Twitch now? Me? Yes, I always live stream to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Lucarcry, actually Rai sent a message while you were still doing the countdown. Well, because of the way that it delays, you're seeing me, I think, like 30 seconds after I speak, or like 15 seconds after I speak, I'm not sure. Either way, when I started the countdown and when Rai spoke, it was literally 1 second afterwards. He actually made a James Bond entry almost 1 second after rather than 1 second before the end of the timer, but sure. It doesn't matter anyway, Luke let him in. So, here we go. Lucarcry up at the top with the neutral hero, Mr. Ru down at the bottom with the L hero. Mr. Ru decides to go for a charge, so a defensive play. It goes into darkness, which he's probably not too happy about. Better for it to go into nature, probably. Luke goes for a control defensive style opening as well, and goes for the charge. That ensures that they maintain a resource lead here. More charges. Is Luke going to play anything aggressively, or just going to wait for his opponent to go? Let's cry, says Mr. Ru. Going to drop a Lorna, a good play there. Mr. Ru can remove it for equal cost, but of course, whatever he uses to remove it will gain a grave cost, whereas Lorna will not. Out comes the magic missile, that takes care of the Lorna, so actually it's a better resource trade there for Mr. Ru, but again, grave cost increase. So both players are ready to level up to 2, and Mr. Ru does so. Lucarcry will, of course, follow suit immediately. There we go, no reason to do anything else. So, Mr. Ru doing slightly better for resources. Out comes the Magician Mask Field at level 2. Not quite the super fast play that we saw from Kengi yesterday, but let's see if a level 2 play works out a little bit better for Mr. Ru. Out comes a Holy Missile, an excellent counter to the Magician Masked Field, and let's see how Lukaku decides to answer this. Anna with a Fiery Zealot, which is an excellent removal. Either the Fiery Zealot will kill Anna and remain on the field, or Mr. Ru has to spend resources removing the Fiery Zealot, which of course will kill Anna in return. Out comes a Suspicious Peddler on the off left center, and a charge. So he's just going to let Anna die to the Fiery Zealot, possibly anticipating a Piole drop on the next turn. So Lukaku could remove the Anna here for a guaranteed 6 damage off onto Mr. Ru before the inevitable Piole, or could charge up. Okay, let's see if it decides to answer the Peddler. Now, the Peddler, of course, can be removed very easily with any spells, but the downside to that is that it will then dump a secondary spell into your grave as well, increasing your revival HP damage, as well as, of course, racking up that grave cost. So, Lukaku is thinking about it, could go for the removal onto Anna, ignore the Suspicious Peddler, could block the Peddler, could remove it and take the spell discard. Let's see what he decides to go for. Goes for a Paralyzing Bullet into the Suspicious Peddler just to hold it in place, and the Fiery Zealot kills off the Anna. Mr. Ru's turn. I assume we're about to see a Piole. There it is, the anticipated Piole. And a charge for the second action? Yes, a charge for the second action. So the Piole kills the Zealot and escapes before the Zealot's ability can kill it. And the Suspicious Peddler is out in the field. Goblin Shredder comes out to take care of that Suspicious Peddler without discarding into the grave and maintains a battlefield presence. Lukaku takes the opportunity to level up. An excellent play there by Lukaku, taking care of the Suspicious Peddler without activating the ability and leaving a creature out onto the field. Mr. Ru decides to level up before answering that Goblin Shredder. Now, we can't answer it with Piole, of course, because Piole only does 4, 5, and 6. This is the Shredder is just outside of Piole range. Let's see what he decides to go for instead. Goes for an aggro Forest Keeper Imp into the center slot. Now, that should be quite easy for Lukaku to answer. A surprise attack, a firebolt. Anything really would deal with that. But let's see if he decides to go for a removal. He could also go for a specialized creature block. But no, he goes for the firebolt removal. And perhaps a double charge just to maintain a resource lead. Yep, a double charge for the resource lead. And the 5 damage comes out there into Rai-senpai. So let's see how Rai-senpai decides to answer that. That's twice now, I think, that Goblin Shredder has managed to deal its damage. So... okay, another aggressive creature out into the center slot. Rai-senpai going for a very aggressive late game play here. And double charge. Alright, so still not answering that Goblin Shredder. He's going to get another 5 damage off, giving Lukaku a 10 HP lead. Lukaku could, of course, remove that elf with a surprise attack for slightly more resource cost, but it will at least get a 10 damage creature off the field. He goes for a double charge. I'm expecting the surprise attack, but he may surprise us. Nope, there's a surprise attack. A good solid play there, a little bit, it's unbalanced resource-wise, but certainly better to spend 1 extra resource than take that 5 damage. And it forces Rai-senpai back into a reactive position. So, 10 HP separate the two, but their resources are pretty even, and 10 HP is not a completely insurmountable number to have to deal with. Vampire comes out, drains the few HP that the Goblin Shredder had, does not take Vampire outside of Holy Missile KO range though. A charge on the second action, and a charge on the third as Rai-senpai, refusing to let Lukaku gain a resource lead. Rai-senpai charges up, and it goes in. Lukaku charges up, and it goes into mana. Another charge, so not going for a revival into Holy Missile. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, I was honestly expecting the revival into Holy Missile. Lukaku may not want to revive for fear of giving Mr. Ru back his creatures, but with only 5 cards in the grave on Mr. Ru's side, you don't really need to worry too much about that. An aggressive imp comes out on the far left-hand side, so a defensive positioning, and it's Mr. Ru's turn. Fireball comes out to take care of that imp. Yep, down it goes. Double charge now, one would anticipate from Mr. Rue, unless he wants to play highly aggressively. An Arrow of Revenge to take advantage of the fact that Lucarcry has more than, well, 6 or more cards in his grave at the moment. A good play there, helps to even out those resource points quite nicely. Lucarcry's turn with 8 cards in the grave and only 4 in the hand. He's got to revive, and there it goes. So, with that revival, Mr. Rue takes a HP lead, only gets 2 of the 5 cards that were in his grave back into his hand. So with 3 cards in the grave, 1 card out onto the field, Mr. Rue still has 8 cards in the hand now. Lucarcry's turn can answer with a Holy Missile, which is exactly what he does. Down goes that Vampire, and a charge on the third action. So Lucarcry slipping back into a defensive reactionary position. Let's see if Mr. Rue gives him any targets to play with, or if both players switch into a control mentality now and start trying to generate enough resources to make some pressure plays. Now, with that revival, of course, Lucarcry does have Lorna right back in their hand, so that is a nice little play to drop. But it depends on whether or not Luke has anything in light that they would prefer to play. Another charge into nature, which is getting slightly unbalanced for Mr. Rue. He's probably wishing at this point that some of it would start going into darkness, but nevertheless, it means that he is maintaining a resource advantage over Lucarcry, even if it is only by the veriest sliver. Out comes an elf, which is a bold play for him to make, given that he knows that Lucarcry has a Goblin Shredder. But he may be relying on the fact that Lucarcry may not want to spend an action to revive that Shredder out of the grave. So a charge into gold, which is a little unfortunate. Another charge into gold, also quite unfortunate. Let's see what Luke decides to do for his third action. Oh, there's the Goblin Shredder. Was I wrong about it being in the grave, or does he happen to have 2? No, he can't have 2. It's no duplicates. So something else is in the grave. Could have sworn it was a Goblin Shredder, but apparently not. So that Goblin Shredder comes out, kills the elf, and maintains a presence on the battlefield. A hunt immediately answers the Goblin Shredder, and Mr. Rue charges up on the second turn, and I assume on the third, possibly an aggro mana play, but no, another charge, yes. Mr. Rue has proven himself to be quite the defensive player so far, so Lucarcry can always assume in any 50-50 split that Mr. Rue is going to go for a charge. Lucarcry goes for a charge as well, all goes into gold once again. And again into gold. That's what, 4 charges in a row that have gone into gold now for Lucarcry. Not quite so good for balancing out, but given Mr. Rue's use of the elves, it's quite nice to be able to keep bringing out that Goblin Shredder. Final turn, and he could bring out a creature here to force Mr. Rue into a reactive position once again, but no, he goes for another charge which goes once again into gold. Mr. Rue follows suit by charging up himself. Will he go for a triple charge, or is he going to play something a little bit aggressive and force Lucarcry to answer it? Yep, okay, he's going to go for the aggressive play, the Forest Keeper Imp. Expensive at this point, given the number of times that it's died so far, but also the same can be said for the removal spells on Lucarcry's side of the field. So let's see what Lucarcry decides to go for here. I mean, at 10 HP, the Forest Keeper Imp is not that difficult to answer. The question is, how do you choose to answer it? So the Firebolt would be the obvious choice because Lucarcry has more mana than light, but he also has way more gold than any other color, so he drops a Fiery Zealot, feeling that he's safe enough with that. He can remove the Forest Keeper Imp on his next turn for a free 8 damage, or he can allow the Forest Keeper Imp to kill the Fiery Zealot, and in doing so kill itself. Mr. Rue is forced to level up, which gives Lucarcry back a slight HP advantage, and of course puts Lucarcry's fabulously useful Goblin Shredder right back into their hand. Suspicious Peddler comes out into the center, positioning itself for a command hunting. Let's see how Lucarcry decides to answer this. Of course, last time it was a paralyzing bullet into a Goblin Shredder. Let's see if he chooses to use the same tactic again, or if he's got something else in mind. Oh. Some of that arc juice went down the wrong way a little bit. Okay, well, my lungs are going to be supercharged, so that's great. Alright, so Lucarcry is thinking about it. This is a difficult decision for her to make. how to answer that Suspicious Peddler, and whether or not to take care of that Forest Keeper Imp for the extra 8 damage. The question is, do you want to slightly give Mr. Roo a resource lead, a slight resource lead, or... Okay, so there's a Suspicious Peddler damage, and are we about to see the Goblin Shredder come out? There it is. Goblin Shredder comes out to take care of that Suspicious Peddler without activating his ability. That Goblin Shredder having now beaten that poor Suspicious Peddler twice. So, Lucaria is going to let that Fiery Zealot die to the Forest Keeper Imp, which is okay for Lucaria, as it still allows her to have Goblin Shredder out onto the field. Mr. Roo, of course, with more than enough resources in nature to remove the Goblin Shredder, but this is going to be getting pretty expensive at this point, and ideally... okay, for a PLA, no doubt, yeah. And ideally, of course, what you're looking for is some sort of play that will leave a creature out onto your side of the field to force your opponent into a much more defensive, reactive position so that you can steal tempo control. So, the Forest Keeper Imp kills the Golden Bomb Squad, which kills it in return. The PLA does manage to answer that Goblin Shredder for a reasonable resource trade there. All it cost was a magic missile and an extra action. Lorna comes out onto the field on the off left center, and that puts Mr. Roo into an awkward position. Lorna, of course, having generated absolutely no grave cost in all this time. And Lorna just working out really well for Lucaria next to Mr. Roo's L hero. So the hunt comes out, Lorna goes down. That's a very expensive trade there for Mr. Roo, but you need that damage off the field. And now comes the Magician Masked Field for Lucaria to deal with. Lucaria should still have the Holy Missile in hand. I can't quite remember whether it was used since the last removal. I don't think it was. So should be able to answer that Magician Mask Field without too much difficulty. And then it's a question of what to do with that Anna. So Luke is thinking about it. Both players doing well for HP. Luke taking the advantage in terms of resources, but goes for an aggressive Beastkin Jane play here. Let's see if that pays off, given that Mr. Roo does have enough nature to bring out something like a Capture or an Allurin, something like that. Out comes the Nereva. Because of Beastkin Jane's guaranteed transformation, Nereva is going to activate and go up to 4 energy. Jane is now, of course, protected against spell usage. You can't hit her with a magic missile to transform her back and then hit her with a Capture or anything like that. So Mr. Roo is in a bit of an awkward situation here. If his nature does happen to carry a Paralyzer Allurin, then I'm not actually sure if that would work. It depends on whether or not Allurin's ability activates before Jane pushes her out of the way. And I actually don't know which would trigger first on that one. It'd be quite interesting to see. So, let's see what Mr. Roo decides to go for. No obvious answers here, apparently, because he's taking his time to think about it. Nereva will protect against 2 spells coming out. So, whatever Mr. Roo does, it's going to really have to be creature-based. So let's see. With the Magician Masked Field's damage coming out onto Lucaria, he will take a slight HP lead, but obviously Jane can output significantly more damage than the Magician Masked Field can, and Nereva will kill the Anna before the Anna can kill her. So, difficult for Mr. Roo to have to deal with here. A charge on the first action, which didn't really go into anything that they were apparently hoping it would go into, as the second action is taking a little while to think about. Another charge, which goes into mana. So at least it's not into nature, but possibly would have been better for it to go into dark. Okay, so the elf comes out on the far left-hand side, a defensive play there, trying to even out the amount of damage that's coming out. So this gives Mr. Roo 8 damage on their side of the field, but Lucaria, of course, does have a very solid 9 damage on their side with Beastkin Jane, and Secret Nereva will hammer through that Anna without too much difficulty. Lucaria almost certainly going to choose to remove that Magician Masked Field before Nereva kills the Anna, of course, because you don't want to have to go through all that transformative nonsense. Out comes a Fireball that's going to take care of the Magician Masked Field, and now Anna, of course, is in a really bad position out in front of that Nereva. 6 cost Revival from the Grave on Lucaria's side. That does quite badly unbalance the HP against Lucaria, but let's see if there was a particular plan because of that. A Goblin Shredder, perhaps. Yes, the Goblin Shredder comes out, and that is going to take care of the elf. A bold play there on Lucaria's side if Mr. Roo happens to have a... well, I was going to say if Mr. Roo happens to have an AoE, but of course that's still got to get through the Nereva. So this highly aggressive play here may actually work out very well in Lucaria's favor. Let's see if Mr. Roo can answer that Nereva's energy. So both players down quite low with their HP values, a little under half. Mr. Roo decides to drop a blocking Forest Keeper Imp, which is always a tricky decision to make. The Forest Keeper Imp won't, in fact, kill the Goblin Shredder before the Goblin Shredder kills the Imp. So Lukaku could just kill the Forest Keeper Imp and allow that extra 6 damage to come out from the Goblin Shredder, or he can wait for a while. So out comes a Holy Missile. That's going to be a nice cheap answer to the Forest Keeper Imp. Wow, you're incredible. Good job, says Lukaku. That's going to be 15 damage. Beastkin Jane lands the finishing blow, and down goes Rai Senpai. So congratulations to Lukaku, who does in fact still end up moving up a bracket, and well played to Rai Senpai. Well done indeed. Alright, so Lukaku, woo, what the hell is that? Yeah, let's, okay. Let's put that over there now. Alrighty. So Lukaku moves up into the semi-finals. So congratulations to him. Let's see how the chat feels about that. Mr. More Aggressive, Cost Shredder. Yep, that was a good cost. Slapper Rise, says he may. Nope, that didn't happen. Jane is hitting like a truck. It was, yeah, that Jane was doing business. But I think the real MVP out of that entire thing was that Goblin Shredder. That really did an awful lot of work. Good game, good game, good game, good game, good game. Well done to everybody. James, good game. I really thought Rai would win, but what the F? Intense. Yes, indeed. Very intense fight. Both players have a lot to be proud of in that match. Alright, so up next we have Aria versus Gin-Tonic. So Aria and Gin-Tonics, please let me know that you are both here in the chat, and then I will spin the duck. So Aria and Gin-Tonics, please let me know in the chat that you are around and ready. Woo! An exciting first fight. So, Luke, are you ready to fight whoever happens to emerge victorious here, Aria or Gin-Tonics? Dun dun dun. So Aria says nice. I assume, yeah, so they're here. Gin-Tonics, are you here? Are you here? Aria's here. Good, good. Pablo is rooting for Gin-Tonics. Okay. Everybody declare who you're cheerleading. And be sure to cheer for them in the fight. Good luck, Aria, says Jin. So Pablo's rooting for Jin. James is rooting for Aria. Fans on both sides of the fence. That's what we like to see. Vertude says, Jin, where are you, Jin? Gin-Tonics, Gin-Tonics. Wherefore art thou, Gin-Tonics? Except that's wherefore in Old English actually means why, but sure. Ah, Gin-Tonics is here. Good, good. All right, so let's spin. If it is facing camera forward, Aria will challenge. If it is facing camera backwards, he, Samurai Quack, then Gin-Tonics will challenge. Let's go. Okay, that was a kind of a sideways one. It didn't really spin properly. There we go. That's much more of a breakdancey. Okay, facing towards. So Gin-Tonics will send the battle request. Gin-Tonics, please challenge Aria. Gin-Tonics, please send the battle request. And both of you, please get online. Because neither of you appear to be. Yep, Jin's here. Yes, I know. That's why we spun the duck. Logging in. Good, good. All right, so Gin-Tonics and Aria, log in, please. And who was it? Gin-Tonics, please send a battle request to Aria. Okay, good. I see Gin-Tonics is online. Right, Senpai. Go, Aria. Win this tournament for me. Gin-Tonics is logging in. Yep, I see that. Good, good. Just waiting on Aria, I think. I don't see them online yet. Vamos, Jin. So Vertude and Nyx are cheering for Gin-Tonics. Rai Senpai is cheering for Aria. Melissa's cheering for Jin. Kengi's rooting for Aria. Excellent. Okay, good. I see Aria and Gin-Tonics are both online. Excellent, excellent. So Gin-Tonics, please send the battle request. Gin-Tonics, send the battle request. Swat says, if Jin wins this, your Jane strategy is screwed, Lukaku. Perhaps. But perhaps not. There is a sideboard. Everyone gets a sideboard. James, Nyx, love the Log Horizon DP. Forget her name. Display pic. Sure. Yeah. Right, Senpai, my Lurn didn't show up. Poor Lurn. Okay, looks like the duelists rather are transitioning, so we're just waiting for this to go blue. Okay, here we go. Jin was one who challenged, so Jin's the one we will spectate. Alright, Aria up at the top and Gin-Tonics down the bottom. Aria with the neutral hero and Gin-Tonics with the L hero. Aria says, good to meet you. Gin-Tonics ignores him. Nope, there he goes. Hello, excellent. An aggressive Crusader there by Aria. Let's see how Gin-Tonics decides to answer that with a Piolet. Just so happened to have exactly the right amount of resources for that. So a good resource trade there for Gin-Tonics, but really only a 1 resource positive, so not a big deal. Aria drops an aggressive elephant off-center, which is quite interesting. The implication being there, of course, that he doesn't have a... ooh, ouch. He doesn't have a command hunting ready to go. A Goblin Shredder comes out and answers that elf. So Gin-Tonics so far managing to answer everything that Aria's throwing. Aria throws out a Vampire, which isn't going to protect him from a Holy Missile if Gin-Tonics has it, but Gin-Tonics decides not to go for that. He's going to let the Goblin Shredder die to the Vampire. Not worried about taking any damage, of course, because at this point it should be easy enough to remove with another Piolet. So let's see what he decides to go for. Yep, there's the anticipated Piolet, and are we going to see an aggressive play? Nope, we're going to see a defensive one instead. So there's the charge, which goes into light, which balances him out quite nicely. And there's all that nature back there. Aria goes for a very aggressive Peddler and a charge, giving Gin-Tonics absolutely no time whatsoever to think of their next move, just really throwing the pressure down. Let's see how Gin-Tonics decides to answer that. Out comes the Fiery Zealot, a good answer to the Suspicious Peddler. It will, of course, kill the Peddler before the Peddler can kill it, and if Aria decides to remove the Fiery Zealot, then the Suspicious Peddler dies anyway. Aria revives from the grave, brings out the Holy Missile. That's going to kill both of them. Okay, so he just wanted that Fiery Zealot off the field. Gin-Tonic's doing very well for nature, well for light, but not at all well for gold at this point. All of their resources going into other places. Yep. So let's see if Aria can take advantage of this. Aria's resources significantly better laid out. He drops the elephant, knowing that he's pretty much safe from the Goblin Shredder at this point. Let's see. Rise of the People comes out. Interesting. A lot more viable at level 3 now than it used to be, thanks to the patch last week. So 2 citizens out onto the field, and that puts Aria into an awkward situation. Of course, as soon as you kill the citizens, they're going to give, each one is going to give 2 light back to Gin-Tonics. It's a nice way of putting some pressure on, but also regenerating those resources. So the hunt comes out, takes care of the elephant, and Gin-Tonics decides to charge up for the 3rd action. Magician Masked Field comes out onto Aria's side. And one of the Anas does, in fact, appear in front of the citizen. So that works out quite well for Aria. No super duper easy answers here. The Ana will, of course, kill the citizen before the citizen can kill her. And if Gin-Tonics decides to remove the Ana, then he's got to remove the Magician Masked Field first. And then, obviously, that's going to leave the Crusader untouched. Out comes the Paralyzer Allurin. That is going to deal with the Magician Masked Field and leave Allurin with a nice 6 damage out there. The Surprise Attack comes out onto the Crusader. Gin-Tonics not wanting to deal with that kind of ramping attack, HP, and defense. And a charge for the 3rd action. Going to let that citizen die so that they can gain a couple of light resources back. Ambush comes out. That's going to take care of the citizen. Give 2 light back to Gin-Tonics. Not going to be quite enough to kill that Paralyzer Allurin. A revival on Aria's side and a charge. The Ana does kill the citizen, putting 2 light back into Gin-Tonics' hand. And he does have enough now to bring out another Rise of the People if he decides to do so. But at this point, probably not worthwhile. Goes for a Dragon Hunter Frey. This is the Frey we saw yesterday, the one that was almost mirror matched in a way against Kengi and emerged victorious. So the Frey is, of course, going to land the finishing blow at the end of this turn, killing Ana and dealing 2 damage to Aria. So Gin-Tonics maintaining a big HP lead here. Golden Garden Cat is out onto the field, which Aria does need to deal with. Otherwise, Gin-Tonics is going to start generating a lot of light resources off that. But with 5, 2, and 3, there's not an awful lot of answers. We've already seen the ambush, and we have to assume that is Aria's only AoE. No Earthquake, probably. A discard into Darkness? For a Hellhound, perhaps? Hunt comes out, takes care of that. And a charge onto the 3rd turn. Okay, so Aria's going to take this 12 damage. Whoop, that was amazing. Going to take him down to 6 HP. Not completely insurmountable odds. We have seen people come back from worse, but it does put Gin-Tonics into an extremely strong position, especially since he can just triple charge here without worrying about it. Oh, but goes for a double charge and a Fiery Zealot. Really just wants to make absolutely sure that no matter what Aria does, he's going to get fatal damage on the next turn. Aria needs to deal with 3 creatures now. And with 2, 3, and 1 resources, that doesn't really seem very likely. A discard into light for a surprise attack against the Fiery Zealot. That will still leave them open to Paralyze or Allurin. I think we're just going to see a triple charge off Gin-Tonics here. Whoop, that was amazing, once again. So, yeah, a charge from Gin-Tonics, second charge, and a Sportsman-like third. We have to assume no reason to do anything else. No Fenny heroes allowed, so no need to go too crazy. And there's the final charge, so the Fry lands into there. And the Allurin lands the finishing blow. So well played there to Aria, and congratulations to Gin-Tonics, who moves up into the semi-finals. So let me just find, there we go. There we are, okay. It's a little off-center, actually. Just for the OCD in me. There's got to be a better way of doing this. It's on such a small screen. There we go, that'll do fine. So, the semi-finals on the left-hand side is going to be Lucarcry versus Gin-Tonics. Both players, please make sure you guys have each other added as friends. We'll be going right into the semi-finals after we're done with the quarterfinals on the right-hand side. So let's see how the chat feels. I'm pretty sure Luke would summon Nerva in front of Anna. It's probably which sense. Okay, talking about something else. Good game, 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 all the way down. All right, so yes, and it was indeed a good game. Both players played very well there. So, Jin is maintaining his meteoric rise after having beaten Kengi. Let's see who will win now between Abri and Hertberken. So, Abri and Hertberken, please let me know if you guys are around. I see that Hertberken is actually online, so that's fantastic. Now, I have been informed that Abri's basically just suffering from like lack of sleep and passed out fairly shortly before the tournament. So, hopefully they will have woken up for this. Kengi, Jin's got every counter in his deck. Pretty good, yep. Blank is ready, but Abri's not online. Yep. Summon in the middle, but Anna is too stupid. Yeah. Anna very seldom gets summoned exactly where you want her to get summoned. Okay, so let's say we will wait for another 5 seconds. Okay, so 5-minute timer starts now. So at 48, 2:48 my time, but yes, 48. So Abri, if you are around, please let me know in the chat. And anybody who happens to have Abri's personal numbers or is capable of hacking into their alarm clock, please do so. They have 5 minutes starting now. James, I just remember the time when Gin-Tonics participated in the first 2 tourneys and lost at the start. This might be his revenge. Dun dun dun. Kengi, if Nerva shows up, then you can assume a summon dead. Well, you're talking about Jin always having a counter to something. Vertu, Jin 2018 finalist? Could be. Gin-Tonics could be our next legend, or could be Lucarcry. Lucarcry has been doing extremely well in this tournament so far. Kengi, damn, his thinking is exactly the same as me. I know, all these old vets. Veterans, of course, not veterinarians. James, well, assuming somebody actually put it in their deck, it's pretty situational, I think. The summon dead, yeah. It's pretty situational. The advantage to summon dead is that even if your opponent has nothing to counter, it still allows you to bring out an 8/8 creature, which is, it's not bad. You know, it's not necessarily amazing, but even if they don't have a counter, at least it's not a dead card. It's not like Devil's Lie, which is only used in anti-gimmick, because in normal decks it's just dead 90% of the time. Of course, being an anti-gimmick deck is a fantastic card. What did I say? 8, so 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Abri, 4 minutes. Okay, I'm just checking the Discord just to see if anybody's mentioned it, but no mentions yet of Abri. So if you happen to know Abri, please get in touch. Please get in touch. Where are we at? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, Abri. 3 minutes. If Abri does not show up, then Hertberken will immediately move up into the semi-finals, and we will move on to the Onii-Sama and Nick Stalker battles. Yep, I see Onii-Sama is around, Herdbergen is around, that's good, and I know that Nix was in chat just earlier. James, Onii-Sama versus Nick Stalker would be really interesting. It will be really interesting because it's definitely happening. Lukaku, trying in direct message, but that's the best I can do. Yeah, well, fingers crossed he gets through. Dan, wouldn't it be perfect to have Casanova against Jane and Nerva? Again, it depends on whether or not Casanova's effect activates before Jane's, because Jane's effect is that if you play a creature in front of her, she pushes the creature out of the way. Now, if Casanova's ability activates before Jane's push ability, then yes, Casanova would be interesting, but not great, because it would pull Jane into a non-centered position. She would transform back to normal and would start damaging you, so it wouldn't be ideal. Illurin would be really good against Jane if her ability triggered on Jane before Jane pushed her, but I don't actually know how that how that happens. Kengi, what's Abri's Discord name? Scamcat at the moment, I think they keep changing it. Aria, fight of the month. Onii-Sama versus Nyx. Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking forward to that. Virtue Casanova in 2018. Lol, Bartu memer. I did actually see one rank 1 player using Casanova well. But yeah, I mean, unless you're one of those players who just sort of naturally synchronizes with that kind of card, yeah, most people should not use it. James, LMAO, Jane would be placed somewhere not in the middle. Yeah, by the capture pull. Yep. Poor place, Jane not in the middle. Yep. I actually used formation move to west or formation move to east once against a Jane player, and that was just so funny. Kengi, Paralyzer will still kill Jane. Okay, so Illurin lands, Illurin paralyzes, then Jane pushes. Is that how it works? Because normally whatever creature is on the field first, their ability list will activate first. So it would be Illurin lands, Jane pushes, Illurin then tries to paralyze whoever's in front of her, which would be nobody. Evil Bard, you don't have to put Casanova in the middle. Oh no, true. Yeah, he will capture creatures in the middle, but he doesn't have to be in the middle. Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, actually that may work, because it should pull Jane straight down the center. Projection, you confirmed that too. Okay, even if she got pushed. Okay, good to know. Lukaku, don't think I participated during the second turn. I don't actually. Yeah. I thought you had, Luke. I thought you had. Anyway, where are we at? Yes, Abri's still not around. And yeah, we're actually on the. It's going to be 10 seconds in just a second. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bah. Okay, there goes the buzzer. So unless Abri happens to pop up like Rai Senpai did, we will assume that they're not here. They fell asleep, couldn't make it. It's unfortunate, but so it goes. This is why I tell everybody, try to get well rested and always appear half an hour before the tournament begins, so that we don't have these kinds of issues. So anyway, can't be helped. So Herdbergen moves up into the semi-finals, and Abri is disqualified due to time. All right, so Aria, I don't think Abri's going to show up. Yep, doesn't look like it, so Herdbergen moves up instead. Okay, so the next fight is going to be Onii-Sama versus Nick Stalker. Onii-Sama versus Nick Stalker. So, Onii-Sama and Nix, please both post into the chat, letting me know that you're here, and then I will spin the duck. Kenki, people should use their IGN in Discord so we can easily call or tag them. Yeah, that would be helpful, but most people don't like doing that, so I'm not going to enforce it. Evil Bard, I played against Jane deck. I killed Nerva with Para. It's better. Oh, right, I see what you mean. Yes, use Illurin to kill off the Nerva. Yeah, that's also very good, because then you can just use like one cheap spell to transform Jane back to normal, and then use another spell to kill her. Next talk is ready. Onii-Sama is ready. Perfect. Next fight should be really good, says Virtute, and I agree. I think a lot of people have been looking forward to this one. So, Samurai Quack facing towards camera. Onii-Sama will challenge. Samurai Quack facing away from camera. Nick Stalker will challenge. Let's go, heroes. Okay, facing towards camera. So, who is that? Onii-Sama. Onii-Sama, please challenge Nick Stalker. Onii-Sama, please send the challenge. Alright, so we got people cheering for both sides already. Both Nyx and Onii-Sama have their fans. Alright, so let's hope that I don't accidentally forget to switch off the brackets thing again. So I'll be commentating over a fight that everyone's looking forward to, but no one can see it. Virtue rooting for both. Alright, well. That's a bit wishy-washy. James, to be honest, despite all my cheers towards Sabro, I don't know who to cheer for. They're both excellent players and both lovely people. So you're a winner whoever you cheer for. Zohib, it's going to be a tie. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. I have seen tie. The game doesn't allow for ties, but I've basically seen ties happen. I've seen somebody use a slap when their opponent was at 1 HP, but the slap killed them. So technically, that would have been a tie because the slap would have killed them both. Melissa, go Nix. James, both are good and all. I don't care if either wins against each other. Potentially, what would you do, Ark, if 2 players were absent? Well, they'd both be disqualified, and whoever it was would just jump. Whoever was in the other end would just jump forward twice. All right, here we go. Let's transition. And there we are. Alright, Nick Stalker up at the top with the L Hero, Onii-Sama down below with the L Hero. Onii-Sama opens with an aggressive elf, feeling safe, because Nick Stalker, of course, has no gold, so no fear of Goblin Shredder. An unfortunate resource start there for Nick Stalker. Nothing into nature, so no hunt. Nothing into light, so no surprise attack. Only darkness, so a Drag to Hell might be coming out, but that would be about it. Nick Stalker obviously not entirely happy with the way that worked, and decides to drop a defensive elephant. Onii-Sama could remove that with a hunt for the guaranteed 2 damage, fearing that Nick Stalker might do the same thing on the following turn, but with a surprise attack, but decides instead to go for an aggressive skeleton. So that protects the elf against any future hunts. Holy Missile comes out. That does deal with the skeleton. The elephant just continues to chip away a little bit at the elf. The elf, of course, is going to win this war of attrition unless one or the other decides to remove them. Nick Stalker is ready to level up, however, and Onii-Sama is not. That charge puts her into a good position, though. Nick Stalker decides to level up to 2. Onii-Sama almost certainly following suit. There we go. No reason to do anything else. And both the elf and the elephant continue to batter away at each other. I'm reminded of The Lord of the Rings when Legolas slid down that elephant creature's trunk. I can't remember the name of the elephant creature, which is annoying to me because I love Lord of the Rings. Skeleton comes out on Nick Stalker's side. So a bit of a mirror match so far. We've had an elf and an elephant, which are basically the same thing. 2 skeletons on either side. So Onii-Sama can remove the skeleton, but not for even cost at this point, I don't think. Let's see what they decide to go for. Out comes the magic missile. That's going to weaken the skeleton for a Piole? Yes, for a Piole. Okay. And the elf has got the elephant now within kill range. So Nick Stalker could decide to hit the elf with something small, a little holy missile or something, just to get it off the field. May decide not to, though. May decide to let that elephant die. Goes for a charge on the first action, and on the second goes for another charge. Okay, so yes, going to let that elephant die. Let's see if Onii-Sama decides to drop any more creatures aggressively, or whether they're just going to let the elf kill the elephant and hang out on the field. You've got to be anticipating a Piole, though, coming out onto that elf, really, don't you? So Onii-Sama discards into the grave. It was mana, if I noticed correctly, so... free summon, perhaps, to protect against that Piole. Nick Stalker's got to be a little bit worried about that. Maybe he's going to drop an aggressive creature. Yep, there's the Lorna in front of the elf. Okay, so no free summon there. Could be, well, must be a counterspell then, really. I can't think what else it could be. Okay, so Lorna in front of the elf. That is going to be awkward for Onii-Sama to deal with. You have to remove Lorna, obviously. But the question there is, what do you remove her with? Light Lorna, of course, resists something like a Holy Missile. Magician Masked Field comes out, and the Ana gets dropped on the far left-hand side. And Onii-Sama charges up to 3. So Onii-Sama is just going to let that Lorna hammer into the elf, probably going to let the elf die, and then drop a Piole in front of the Lorna for a free removal. A Magician Masked Field comes out. The assistant Ana appears in a somewhat defensive position, actually, protecting the Magician Masked Field against something like a hunt. And it's Onii-Sama's turn. So, a PLA against the Lorna is pretty much guaranteed, but the question then is what to do about the opposing Magician. Of course, the opposing Magician and Anna are at level 3, whereas Onii-Sama's are at level 2. They will out-damage Onii-Sama. And at level 3, Nick Stalker can drop a PLA onto the assistant Anna once the Magician Masked Field is killed. So this puts Onii-Sama into a bit of an awkward situation here. The PLA comes out into the Lorna. There's really no other choice there. The Command Hunting comes out to take care of that Magician Masked Field. And then a charge on the third action because Onii-Sama's got to be worried about running low on resources here. So that's 8 damage. The PLA does what it does and returns back into the hand. So both players have 8 damage out onto the field. Onii-Sama has a advantage here in terms of HP, but only by 8. Not enough to really be counted as definitive. Down goes the Magician Masked Field, and out comes the Hunter PLA, which of course can kill Anna. So, Nick Stalker doing quite well there for resources, fairly well balanced. Onii-Sama doing great for mana and nature, but not so good for darkness. Neither player wants to revive from their hand, because they don't want to give the other player back their creature cards. Nevertheless, this does leave Onii-Sama in a bit of an awkward situation. The level 3 Assistant Anna is, of course, outside of PLA's range. But are we going to see a blue spell circle? Yes, we are. There we go, a blue spell circle. So, the Anna ends up being answered for, what is that, a 4 cost, I think. And the PLA deals damage, and Onii-Sama charges up to try to regain a little bit more resource parity. Nick Stalker goes for the revival, takes the HP loss, and brings out another level 3 Magician Masked Field and charges up on their third action. Onii-Sama's turn now. Nothing really leaps out as being like the perfect play. A Paralyzer Alluring into the Magician Masked Field, and then some sort of low-cost spell, possibly into a PLA onto the Anna, would be quite nice. But if Nick Stalker, of course, has an Alluring of their own, then you don't really want to bring yours out first. So, a bit of a tricky mind game here for both players. No light on Onii-Sama's side, so of course no cheap and easy removal onto the Magician Masked Field. Nevertheless, Onii-Sama does now have a resource advantage. They are just lacking battlefield control. So the question here is, of course, for Onii-Sama, how to remove both of those threats from the board and leave one of your threats on that can't then immediately be countered by something else that Nyx happens to have. A discard into darkness, which is quite interesting. I'm not sure what we would be seeing there. A vampire. All right. Okay, so discard into darkness for the vampire. That doesn't take the vampire outside of kill range of a holy missile. But, of course, if the vampire is killed, then the Magician Masked Field simply deals 3 damage, and PLA can kill him on the next turn. A Black Spirit comes out defensively against the Anna. Onii-Sama hoping, of course, that even if the vampire dies, a PLA onto the Magician Masked Field will work. But ideally that Magician Masked Field has to die before the Anna gets killed by that Black Spirit. So it is still a bit of an awkward situation here. Nick Stalker is also thinking about it. Both players are running very, very low on darkness. But Nick Stalker doing slightly better in his other 2 resources. A little bit lower in nature, but significantly better balanced. So let's see what they decide to go for here. A Holy Missile onto the Vampire would obviously work, but frees up the Magician Masked Field to be killed by the PLA. Goes for a charge on the first action. A surprise attack onto the Black Spirit. That's going to free up the Anna to deal the 8 damage. Which is going to give Nick Stalker a bit of a HP lead. And an aggressive elephant there. Nick Stalker really committing the resources. Let's see if that pays off for him, or if Onii-Sama can now turn this to their advantage. The vampire is going to kill that Magician Masked Field. The Paralyzer Alluring comes out in front of that elephant. Because Nick Stalker now does not have enough nature to summon Alluring of his own on the next turn, Onii-Sama, of course, feels completely safe in dropping an Alluring of their very own. So, a charge onto the second action, probably a charge onto the third. Yep, there we go, a third charge. Going to take that 8 damage from the Assistant Anna. The Vampire is going to kill the Magician Masked Field. The Elephant goes down, and the Anna can be answered on the next turn without too much worry. So a PLA into Amantur's blue spell circle if Onii-Sama decides to revive from the grave, or simply any command huntings or firebolt will remove the Ana. Nyxstalker doesn't have enough resources to summon the Magician Masterfield back out onto the field, so Ana is in a lot of trouble here. Lorna's going to come out in front of the Paralyzer Allurin, and the command hunting is going to finish the job there. So that is a very, very dangerous 17 damage out onto the field in front of Onii-Sama. She's got to be a little bit worried about that coming out, given that that is fatal. Also, extremely fatal now that Onii-Sama has been forced into reviving. A discard into mana, and an Ice Spear to take care of both of those creatures, allowing the Vampire to get the 7 damage off, evening out the HP a little bit more. Both players running very low on resources now. They had to really commit to the last couple of turns. Nyxstalker going for a charge, which goes, unfortunately for him, into Darkness. That's not probably what he was looking for. Although it does help to bring out that other Vampire. So that's got to work out quite well for him. Onii-Sama's turn now. They do have resources to remove that Vampire, but it depends on whether or not they deem it worthwhile. A discard into Darkness. Not for another Vampire, obviously. For an aggressive Skeleton. Okay, so very aggro plays, and there goes the command hunting. Vampire gets the 7 damage off, and now it is Onii-Sama who has fatal damage on the board against Nyxstalker, who with 3, 2, and 3 resources is looking a little bit shaky here for possible answers. Of course, with Onii-Sama only having 1, 2, and 0 resources, if Nyxstalker can find a way out of this pressure, then this may be the opening that he was looking for. Oh, so tense. Both players just, check, 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 check. Let's see who gets checkmate. So Nyxstalker is thinking very carefully about this, rightfully so. This is really the turn that makes or breaks. If they can manage to turn this around and gain battlefield control, there's not really anything Onii-Sama can do with their current resource level to counter. However, if he fails to counter this efficiently and gives Onii-Sama an opening, that will be all that she needs in order to land the finishing blow. Okay, discard into nature. Looks like Nyx has got a plan. Let's see what that plan happens to be. Another discard into nature. And out comes the elephant aggressively in front of the skeleton. An interesting play. The skeleton will, of course, kill that elephant before the elephant can kill the skeleton. But Nyxstalker may be hoping for some charges into light, for a holy missile perhaps to remove that skeleton on the next turn, and then some sort of darkness play to deal with the vampire. Onii-Sama goes for a double charge, a triple charge. Just trying to make sure they have enough resources for this. Minus 12 HP onto the skeleton with that Kiss of the Succubus. A discard into light for the holy missile. There it goes. Down goes the vampire, and the elephant does land a finishing blow against the skeleton. That's not fatal damage on the board, but it is a lot of pressure that Onii-Sama really does need to answer. Good job, says Onii-Sama. Arrow of Revenge comes out because of the high level of cards in the grave. Nyxstalker does take the 6 damage, and down goes Nyxstalker. Wow. Congratulations to Onii-Sama, who moves up, and very well played there to Nyxstalker. That was real edge-of-the-seat stuff. Okay, ooh, let's see if we can figure that out. All right, very nicely done to both players there. Very nicely done. So, let's see, Virtude, this match, Kriegasm, yes. Illurin, oof, yeah. Ivard, is it good to go aggressive after summoning Magician Masked Field? I think so, if your opponent can't remove your creatures. Depends, yeah, as James says, it depends really on who you're going up against and what kind of deck they're running. Icebeast says, Virtude, game over here. Good game. I'm at a loss for words. Best game so far for me. That was the best match till now. Good game. Yeah, that was an insanely good match. Very, very close. Both players highly skilled. They know exactly what they're doing. All right, so with that, we now move into the semi-finals. First match is going to be Lucarii versus Gin-Tonics, and the second match is going to be Hertberken versus Onii-Sama. So, Lucarii and Gin-Tonics, when you guys are ready, please let me know in the chat that you are prepared to fight, and I will spin the duck. Good game for both. That was a nice match. Yep, it was super intense. It was indeed. Evil Bard, but you are lost for words, but you just type in words. Dun dun dun. He's got you there, James. Griffin's already cheering for Lukaku. Aria, let's see if the finals is as intense as this one. Well, we've seen some extremely high-level play so far this tournament, so yeah, I'm pretty much guaranteeing that the finals are going to be tense. Lukaku is ready. Excellent, excellent. Kengi, sorry, Nix. My prediction is Onii-Sama will win. Aria's cheering on Gin-Tonics. Griffin's cheering on Lukaku. Vertsu's cheering on both. Alright, so Gin-Tonics, if you are ready to fight, please let me know in the chat. Gin-Tonics, please let me know if you're ready to fight. And then I will spin the duck. Gengi, that was some really high-level play. It was indeed. It was indeed. Aria, my level of playing is crap. Your level of playing is fine. You managed to get up into the quarterfinals, and that is no mean feat. Gotta be more confident. Insecurity is very unattractive. Alright, we're still waiting on Gin-Tonics to let me know if he's around and ready to fight. Gin-Tonics, Gin-Tonics. Come on, buddy, where are you? James, it's really a shame I didn't participate. I want to bask in this level of skill, and I wouldn't care if I lost. That was an excellent attitude. Gengi, all players are out of the tournament completely. Well, no, Lukaku and Gin-Tonics are old players. They're still in. But yeah, the right-hand side, Hurt Birkin and Onii-Sama, yep, both new at least to the community. Evil Bard, when is the next pack? What, the next booster set? God knows, depends on when Duel of Summoners catches up. Gin-Tonics, good. Gin-Tonics is here, excellent. Alright, so Zohaib, final is going to be Lukaku versus Onii-Sama, believe it. Lukaku says, yeah, I'm still here, though maybe not for long. I actually think Jin would win, but go Lukaku. Alright, so let's see, we're going to spin. Facing forward, Lukaku goes first. Facing away, Gin-Tonics goes first. Okay, that's kind of sideways. Let's do it again. Pablo, you missed Sabadosona's duel. Well, you're going to have to watch the archive footage, aren't you? Good lord, that spins a lot. Okay, it's facing away, so Gin-Tonics. Gin-Tonics goes first. Gin-Tonics, please send a battle request to Lukaku. Gin-Tonics, please send a battle request to Lukaku. As soon as you're online. Which you are not. Alright, so Gin-Tonics, please log on and send Lukaku battle request. Okay, good. I see you're online. Excellent. Gin-Tonics, send the challenge. Lukaku, I don't see Jin online anymore. He is now. Yeah. A lot of players are watching the stream and playing from their phone. So they have to watch the stream, wait for notification, go away from the stream, turn on Mabinogi Duel. Alright, looks like the participants are transitioning. Taking a little while to go blue, but no problem. There we go. Alright, here we go. Gin-Tonics spectating because he's the one who sent the challenge. Alright, Lukaku up at the top with the neutral hero. Gin-Tonics down the bottom with the L hero. Gin-Tonics goes first and decides to charge up and skip a turn. The resource goes into darkness, which isn't great for Gin-Tonics, but could work out very nicely for Lukaku. Except Lukaku goes for a control-based play as well, trying to maintain a resource advantage. Gin-Tonics charges up. Neither player wants to be the first to play a creature, it looks like. So let's see if Lukaku breaks the pattern here. He does, goes for the Lorna. Of course, always a nice play there. Gin-Tonics has nothing that can answer the Lorna for less than its cost. No mana, so no magic missile. Out comes a Fiery Zealot, which is a, yeah, it's a solid counter. It's an equal resource counter. And of course, Gin-Tonics can always choose to remove the Lorna if he wants to get that extra 3 damage off to Lukaku before he levels up. Let's Let's see. Okay, decides to level up instead, and it all goes into darkness. We're getting a lot into darkness there. Lucacri's turn, and Lucacri levels up. Lorna smacks into the Fiery Zealot, and both creatures die. Lorna, of course, will not gain grave cost off that, whereas the Fiery Zealot will. So Lucacri does take a slight advantage in that regard. Lucacri's resources also slightly better balanced than Gin-Tonic's. Gin-Tonic goes for a very aggressive Magician Masked Field play there, given the resource difference. Let's see if Lucacri can answer this. He does have light, so a Holy Missile into the Magician Masked Field is definitely a possibility, and there we go. Holy Missile into the Magician Masked Field. And then perhaps a Fiery Zealot or something similar into the Assistant Ana. No, a Paralyzing Bullet into the Assistant Ana, and perhaps we're going to see a PLA on the next turn. If so, then that would be extremely well played there. That would have been a, 5/6 cost card, answered with a 2 cost. Discard and a Summon into Skeleton. So let's see. Lucacri's going to be a little bit worried about that discard. Let's see if he decides to play around it, or if he's just going to push his luck here. Yeah, he's thinking about it. It's not really the kind of thing you wanna risk. If you drop PLA and it turns out to be a nasty little trap card, that could work out really badly. And of course, you can't drop anything in front of the skeleton because the skeleton would simply kill the. If it was a cocoon, for example, the skeleton would kill the cocoon, and if it's an ambush vine, then that's a same kind of problem. Okay, so it is a cocoon trap. He brings out the elephant in order to bait it out. The skeleton will, of course, kill that cocoon, but out comes a Hunter PLA, and that will deal with the Assistant Ana. So a very nice resource trade there for Lucacri, who managed to counter the Magician Masked Field for effectively 2 resources. Very nicely done. The cocoon is going to die to that skeleton unless Lucacri decides to remove the skeleton, which may be a good idea because then Gin-Tonics is going to be forced into playing something to beat the cocoon. Lucacri may, of course, be a little bit concerned about a Goblin Shredder coming out, though. So Lucacri decides to level up. And for the third action, could play aggressively, could continue to charge up in order to maintain, or in order to gain as large a resource lead as possible. Drops the Mud Hero Dras. That's going to be interesting. No way for Gin-Tonics to answer that at this particular level. So Paralyzer Lurin isn't possible at this level. A Flame Emission, of course, wouldn't take it out, and that would be a big cost attempt. Drag to Hell would, but it would kill the skeleton and may target the cocoon instead. Gin-Tonics goes for a level up. Does he have anything here that can answer that Mud Hero Dras? He's got to be worried about playing something in front of Dras because Lucacri could, of course, just capture it away or simply remove it. So he plays a Vampire. That's going to weaken the Dras down to within removal spell range. Lucacri does have enough resources to remove that Vampire, though, if he decides to. Revival from the Grave, so I assume we're about to see a Holy Missile come out onto the Vampire, which will do just enough damage to kill it. There we go. There goes the Holy Missile. So that is going to be a very painful 13 damage coming out onto Gin-Tonics there, and what will Lucacri do with his last turn? Goes for a Fiery Zealot in front of the skeleton, an excellent play there. The skeleton will either die to the Fiery Zealot and leave the Fiery Zealot alive, or Gin-Tonics has to use resources to kill the Fiery Zealot, and then the skeleton, of course, is going to have its own problems. Gin-Tonics probably going to go for letting the Fiery Zealot kill the skeleton and then dropping a PLA. Yeah, that would work. But what to do about the Mud Hero Dras is a big question on everyone's lips here. An Illurin, of course, would work quite well. The Hunt, of course, works fine as well. Down goes that Dras, and Gin-Tonics has a slight resource lead here, but does need to do something about that Fiery Zealot, really. Unless, as I say, he's hoping to get the PLA out, but the PLA is going to be very expensive at this point. So, the Fiery Zealot Aggressive comes out into the center of the field, which is a very interesting play there, and a discard again into Nature. If that's the Cocoon Trap, Lucacri doesn't really need to worry too much about it. Command Hunter comes out, that's going to take care of that Fiery Zealot. The Fiery Zealot on Lucacri's side can now kill that skeleton, so Lucacri can go for a double charge here, maintain as large... as much resource parity as possible, and he has battlefield control now. Gin-Tonic's lagging a little bit behind in HP, but not enough for it to be in any way decisive. Let's see what he decides to go for against this Fiery Zealot. Goes for a charge on the first action, which goes into darkness. That's not going to help with potential PLA plays. A Drag to Hell comes out, a cheap enough answer to the Goblin Bomb Squad, and for the third action, probably another charge. Yep, there it is, another charge. Okay, does it go into darkness just for my... Yes, it does. That's nice. 4/4/4. Hooray! My OCD is satisfied. Lukaku charges up and skips a turn, charges up and skips a turn. He could drop a Lorna here, which is what he does, and that's going to be an excellent play because, of course, it's going to force Gin-Tonics to keep using more and more and more expensive removals on the Lorna for less and less and less value. So let's see what he decides to go for here. With 5, 5, and 5, Gin-Tonics does have an awful lot of potential answers in hand. But of course what you really want is something that's going to give you some sort of advantage. So, a Revival from the Grave which causes 6 damage, further increasing the HP gap between both Lukaku and Gin-Tonics, but puts all of the creatures and spell cards back into Gin-Tonics' hand, ready to answer that Lorna with. So the Vampire comes out, that's going to sap all of Lorna's strength, but the Vampire, of course, is not going to have enough health now to resist any removal spells. Gin-Tonics goes for a charge on his 3rd action, and it's Lukaku's turn. A removal into that Vampire would allow for a very juicy 9 damage to come out, but on the other hand, you know, do you really want to use all of that? So interestingly, a Cocoon comes out. That's going to allow Lorna to kill it quite easily and force Gin-Tonics to play yet another card to attempt to counter that Lorna. A Piolet play here, of course, would be obvious. It's basically a free removal, which gives a nice resource trade, and there goes the Piolet. So that's going to work out very nicely for Gin-Tonics. Let's see if he goes for a double charge or if he decides to play something aggressive into gold. Nope, goes for the double charge. Down goes the Lorna. And that's going to help out Gin-Tonics with balancing out those resources better. Lukaku lagging a little bit behind resource-wise, but doing very well HP. Decides to go for a charge on the 1st action. We could be seeing a triple charge here just to regain resource parity, or he could want to play something aggressive in order to keep the pressure onto Gin-Tonics, who is having a little bit of difficulty here seizing control of the tempo. He's thinking about it. Both plays are equally good. If he can play something here that will force Gin-Tonics to make a negative resource trade, then that's fantastic. But if he plays something and Gin-Tonics figures out how to counter it for an even trade or even a positive trade on his side, then that would have been a strong misplay that could potentially cost the game. Okay, so it looks like Lukaku is going to risk it. He hasn't seen... I don't think he's seen Goblin Shredder yet. No, we haven't seen Goblin Shredder yet, so... There's the Goblin Shredder. Alright, so that's the risk, of course, you run. You play a card. If Gin-Tonics manages to answer it, which he does, that's the concern here. Alright, so Gin-Tonics is removed and goes for the double charge. Of course, now that he has battlefield control, he can start to just build up those resources. Lukaku can answer this Goblin Bomb Squad with a removal spell, but of course that's not going to leave him with any battlefield control, and it will take a chunk out of the resources that Gin-Tonics can then capitalize on. So let's see. Goes for a charge up on the 1st action and the 2nd. And what will he do for the 3rd? He may just let the 6 damage come out while he builds up, hoping that Gin-Tonics might play more creatures, open him up for a good AoE. Goes for a Paralyzing Bullet. That's going to set up that Goblin Shredder for a Piolet on the next turn and prevent, of course, the Goblin Shredder from dealing any damage. Gin-Tonics is going to just kind of assume that's going to happen and has got to play around the fact that the Goblin Shredder is going to die to a Piolet on the next turn. So, will he go for a triple charge here, or will he decide to play something more aggressively and force Lukaku to use 2 actions, one for the PLA, one to answer his creature, and hope that he can continue to gain positive resource trades on it? Okay, so a discard into nature, which is quite interesting. Okay, so he's going to set up the Cocoon Trap again to attempt to protect himself against the incoming Piolet. Which is an interesting move because he might be hoping that he can protect against the Piolet. One of the creatures is going to go into the Cocoon, then the Goblin Shredder will probably die, but then he can simply revive from the grave and drop Goblin Shredder again on the cocooned creature. Let's see what he decides to go with. So a charge up on the 1st action. If he's going to drop PLA on the Goblin Shredder, then Lukaku has to drop 2 creatures now. He has to drop the first one to draw out the Cocoon Trap, and he has to drop PLA as the second. which he's aware of, which is why he's thinking about it. You know, what do you drop? In this situation, obviously, a Lorna would be a great drop because you don't mind. Ooh, Beastkin Jane. Oh, okay, interesting. No Cocoon Trap. He basically called Gin-Tonic's his bluff. Fascinating. Okay, so out comes the Beastkin Jane, transforms into the Beast Jane, and Gin-Tonics is put into not an awkward situation necessarily. Something like a paralyzing bullet into a capture would work extremely well. But let's see if he decides to, if he decides to go for that, if he has something like that. Now, we know that a lure-in onto Jane will actually kill her. But the Jane will still push Illurin and deal her attack damage. So it's not ideal. An Illurin coming out would kill that Jane. Okay, so a Drag to Hell comes out, and of course, since it's non-targeted, that does manage to deal with that Jane very effectively. Gin-Tonics has a resource advantage here, but unfortunately for Gin-Tonics, it's pretty much all into nature. Not really as well balanced as he might have hoped. A double charge there, and once again, one of it goes into nature. Let's see what Lucarii decides to go for here. He goes for a revival. It's going to deal 7 damage to him and give Gin-Tonics back all of their creature cards. A charge. Are we going to see a second charge? We are, and just like Gin-Tonics, Lucarii charges into nature. So, a charge on the first action from Gin-Tonics. Ooh, hiccup. More nature charges, so that's not ideal. He's probably wishing he was a school hero at this point. And a revive at the very end there. Dealing 2 damage, nothing really to worry too much about. Lucarii has a 10 HP lead, but is not doing quite so well for the resources. It looks like both players are really feeling their grave cost now and are just going for the charges. Lucarii, of course, in a good position here to just keep dropping that Lorna, since Gin-Tonics is running out of easy ways of countering it. Alright, he's thinking about it. Now, neither player has any cards in the grave, so they have the full gamut of possibilities open to them. There's the Lorna, which is, of course, always a good play this late in the game when both players are really beginning to feel their grave cost. So let's see how Gin-Tonics decides to answer this. Now, he has more than enough nature, of course, to remove it with a spell, but the problem with that is the more removals you use on Lorna, the more expensive they become. A double charge there, and then the third action into a hunt, which Lucarii is obviously not too concerned about. He can keep bringing out Lorna every time he has 4 light, just to keep constant grave cost pressure up onto Gin-Tonics. So, a charge up, another charge that goes into light, so on the next turn, Lucarii will be ready to drop another Lorna if he chooses to. Let's see what they go for. Third action, best choice in this situation, probably just to charge, regain the resource advantage, but you may also want to play something nice and cheap just to force out a response. Nothing in nature though, because of the Goblin Shredder, of course. Okay, this may be fairly costly for Lucarii. Gin-Tonics can simply drop a Goblin Shredder once again. Goes for a charge on the first turn, maybe a double charge into Goblin Shredder. Yeah, charged into gold, so yeah, it's kind of RNG saying, yeah, go for the Goblin Shredder. And down goes that elephant. Goblin Shredder remains out on the field with 9 HP, effective HP, of course. It's not difficult to remove, but it's just constantly more costly to remove. Now, a cheap removal spell into a Piolet here would work quite well. But it depends on whether or not Lucarii has anything that cheap anymore. Something like a Paralyzing Bullet into a Piolet, which it looks like Lucarii is going for, works out very nicely. There's the Piolet. And charge for the third action. Piolet comes back, restores all of its resources, and Lucarii is doing not too badly. Gin-Tonics is very strongly in the lead resource-wise, but can't seem to gain battlefield control, and is, of course, lagging behind in HP. So, a charge on the first action, a charge on the second, probably a charge on the third. No, going for an aggressive Magician Masked Field. Alright, let's see how Lucarii decides to answer this one. So Luke, of course, can just Holy Missile that Magician Masked Field once again. Can't really use the Paralysis combo unless he wants to go for a Holy Missile into Revive, into Paralysis, second turn go into Piolet. That is, of course, a possibility, but it's one that Gin-Tonics has got to be anticipating. And Lucarcry knows that since Gin-Tonics is anticipating it, on Gin-Tonics' next turn he may very well just drop a Cocoon Trap. There goes the Holy Missile. That takes care of the Magician Masked Field. Nice and cheap. Now, if he can remove Assistant Anna for an equally cheap amount, then he'll be in a good position here resource-wise. Fiery Zealot comes out. That's not too bad at all. Again, it puts Gin-Tonics into a very awkward position. Kill the Fiery Zealot, and in doing so, kill your own creature. Or leave the Fiery Zealot alone and allow it to kill Anna and be free out onto the field. Of course, he knows that even if Anna dies to the Fiery Zealot, she will still have done enough damage that Piolet can deal with her. Interesting, a capture onto the Fiery Zealot. Very expensive move there for limited battlefield value. However, with that kind of resource lead, he probably feels very comfortable in making plays like that, just to even out those HP scores rather. So the Assistant Anna is definitely going to get that 8 damage out, and Lucarcry is going to have to figure out another way of dealing with it. Okay, so 8 damage comes out from the Assistant Anna. Gin-Tonics plays another aggressive Fiery Zealot, so that's going to be 16 damage out onto the field, which, if both of them go through, is only going to leave Lucarcry with 5 HP, which he's got to be a little bit concerned about here. He charges, and looks like he goes into nature, which is, okay, not quite ideal, but so it goes. Looking at his resources, I'm not really sure what Lucarcry has here that could answer both the Fiery Zealot and the Assistant Anna without completely crippling his available resources. An Earthquake here, of course, would be ideal, but nobody runs Earthquake ever. So it's very unlikely that we'll see it. You never know, but it's unlikely. Especially in a deck that runs Jane, you really don't want to shake her out of position. Another charge, and that one goes into light, which is a little bit better balanced, but now Lucarcry is forced to answer one or the other of the Zealot or Anna. He can't answer both of them. So, let's see what she decides to go for. Command Hunting comes out. That's going to... Ooh, unfortunate. Both Zealots, of course, had an equal amount of HP. There was a 50-50 chance that it would kill the one with the actual attack value, but unfortunately, it looks like it was targeting from left to right, and it went for the one that Luke doesn't really care about. So, Gin-Tonics discards and charges, and goes for another charge again. No reason to do anything else when you have 16 damage out onto the field. This is going to place Fatal on the board here. The Fiery Zealot or Anna, either one could land Fatal damage on Lucarcry. She's got to deal with both of these and somehow leave a creature out onto the field as a threat. So, Flame Emission would be nice, but nowhere near enough resources. Earthquake would have been lovely last turn, but if it wasn't played then we can assume that Lucarcry doesn't carry it. Not enough light for any kind of ambush or anything like that, or Holy Spear, so yeah, Lucarcry's in an awkward position here. No really obvious ways of taking care of both of these threats and leaving a threat of your own on the field. Let's see though. We may be seeing something else. Out comes a discard into gold. Out comes a Forest Fire. Okay, well that will work. Forest Fire goes down. Shame Lucarcry couldn't do that on the previous turn, but so it goes. An expensive removal, but it does take the threat off the battlefield. Let's see if Gin-Tonics can capitalize on this. He's probably going to want to play something more aggressively now to keep Lucarcry on a reactive foot. He doesn't want to risk Lucarcry bringing out Lorna and forcing that kind of threat onto the field again. So it's a discard, could be a Cocoon Trap, but we've seen Gin-Tonics kind of bait that out before. And an aggressive Piolet, so 2 threats once again out onto the field that Lucarcry needs to deal with. Again, very, very tricky. Especially with a Cocoon Trap in there. You know, you could drop a creature into the middle for a Command Hunting and then a Surprise Attack or a Holy Missile onto the Skeleton. But that's awkward. Lucarcry also only has 8 cards in the grave. 9 cards now, so only 3 cards left in the hand. How will she decide to answer this? Skeleton goes for a Revival. into command hunting is the only thing I can see. Yeah, goes into command hunting. With a 2-2-1 versus a 7-10 and 1, all Gin-Tonics needs to do now is play 2 creatures aggressively again, and that will be pretty much game. So there's the first of the aggressive creatures. Are we going to see... Oh, Paralyzer Alluring comes out in front of nobody, but doesn't need to be in front of anybody with 20 HP out onto the field. Lukaku having already used up the command hunting multiple times. Yeah, a charge, another charge that goes into nature, but I think we're going to see the third charge for the sportsmanlike finish on the Lukaku side. Gin-Tonic, sportsmanlike triple charge finish, I think. Good job, he says. Alright, well, that's also sportsmanlike. And charges once. Charges twice. And charges the third time. There we go. Charges the third time, both players. Sportsmanlike finish. Congratulations, Gin-Tonics there with the Alluring landing the finishing blow. And very well played to Lukaku. That fight was right down to the wire there. Could have gone either way. Okay, so congratulations to Gin-Tonics, who moves up into the finals. Dun 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 dun. Alrighty. Next up is Hertbergen versus Onii-Sama. Hertbergen versus Onii-Sama. So, both players, if you can let me know that you are around, comment in chat, let me know that you're here and ready to go. I see that you're both online already, which is fantastic. Just the sort of professionalism that me and Samurai Quack are looking for. So, let me know in chat when you're around and ready to fight, and we will spin the duck. So, good game, 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 bro! Mr. X, why isn't anyone using Undine with Couture? Oh, you mean Capture? Don't know. Onii-Sama is here, good, good. And Blank is here, excellent. Alright, so let's spin the duck. If the duck lands camera forward, Hertbergen will send the battle request. If the duck lands facing camera away, Onii-Sama will send the battle request. Let's go. Gin-Tonics, I was lucky with the command hunt, sorry, Luke. Okay, facing towards me, so Onii-Sama. Onii-Sama, please send a battle request to Hertbergen. Onii-Sama, please make the challenge. Yeah, lucky with the command hunt. That was an unfortunate command hunt. Yeah. I don't know if that swung the battle, but it sure as hell didn't help. Nick Stalker is cheering for Gin-Tonics in the finals, it looks like. Alright, looks like both players are transitioning. Excellent. Okay, Onii-Sama's one that sent the challenge, so just wait for her to go blue. Good. Alright, Hertbergen up at the top with the L hero, Onii-Sama down at the bottom with the L hero. A very aggressive opening there from Onii-Sama, dropping the elf, obviously not fearing any kind of Goblin Shredder shenanigans, answered immediately by a Fireball. Onii-Sama's turn again. Are we going to see a charge into a more defensive play, or are we going to see yet another aggressive creature? We're going to see another aggressive creature. Skeleton comes out, that can be answered for even cost if Hertbergen has a magic missile, but it is instead answered with an elephant, which is quite interesting. So let's see what Onii-Sama decides to do here. Goes for the magic missile. That is going to kill off that elephant. And Onii-Sama can level up to level 3. Hertbergen decides to... level 2, rather. Hertbergen decides to level up and take the skeleton's damage. Onii-Sama follows suit and bam into Hertbergen. So Onii-Sama draws first blood. And magic missile takes out the skeleton for a negative resource trade on Hertbergen's side. So Onii-Sama, obviously, it doesn't feel too bad about that. Slight resource lead there on Onii-Sama's side, but neither player has battlefield control currently. So a charge on the first action, a charge on the second. Yep, charge on the second, which balances Onii-Sama's resources out quite nicely. Hertbergen charges into darkness and drops the Suspicious Peddler. Onii-Sama's turn. The Suspicious Peddler, of course, at level 2. Against a level 2 hero, doesn't need to fear any kind of PLA nonsense, and Onii-Sama is going to be a little bit concerned about dropping that thing with a removal spell. No chance of Fiery Zealot shenanigans either. So let's see how Onii-Sama decides to answer this. If at all, may decide to go for an aggressive play, but no, decides to go for the Black Spirit, which is quite interesting. Given that it's very likely the Suspicious Peddler will kill the Black Spirit before the Black Spirit kills the Peddler, depending on how the defense roll goes. So, Hertbergen charges up, almost ready to level up to 2, and goes for a secondary charge. He's trying to gain as many resources as possible. The defense drop was fortunate on Herdberken's side. The Suspicious Peddler will kill the Black Spirit. Out comes an aggressive Magician Masked Field from Onii-Sama, and a charge, just going to let that Black Spirit die to the Suspicious Peddler. The Assistant Ana and the Magician Masked Field appear on other sides of each other, not protecting anyone against any hunt, but it was a command hunting anyway. A nice level 2 command hunting there before leveling up to level 3. That leaves 6 damage coming out on Onii-Sama's side of the board and 5 on Herdberken's, but it's immediately answered by a Piolet, and goodbye Suspicious Peddler. So, Herdberken lagging behind a little bit, 11 HP, that's not too hyper-crucial though, goes for a double charge, 1 into mana, 1 into dark, nothing going into nature, which must be causing him to grind his teeth a little bit. Out comes a Magician Masked Field, side by side, so they are protected against, well, Magician Masked Field anyway is protected against a normal hunt, should that be a concern. Onii-Sama, no light, so no chance of Holy Missile going into the Magician Masked Field, but a nice little vampire there. 20 damage, or 20 HP rather. Not going to take it outside of KO range of any of Herdberken's removal spells, but it does put Magician Masked Field nicely within range of Piolet or any other sort of low-cost removal spells that Onii-Sama may decide to throw the Magician's way. Are we going to see an Amantur's Blue Spell Circle? I have to assume we are. There we are. Amantur's Blue Spell Circle goes out onto the Ana. That's going to kill her. Magician Masked Field ability obviously cannot activate off that. And Herdberken finds himself in a bit of an awkward situation here. Could remove the Vampire, but that would be just for a 3 damage value. Wants to get rid of that Assistant Ana. The Piolet is an excellent choice. Will he go for removing that Vampire, or is he going to let Magician Masked Field die so that he can revive it later on? He's going to let the Magician Masked Field die. The Piolet kills the Ana. The Forest Keeper Imp comes out aggressively in the center, preparing for a command hunting. And let's see what Onii-Sama decides to do here. Command Hunting comes out, that's going to take care of the Forest Keeper Imp, and I assume we're going to see a double charge here now as Onii-Sama tries to regain some of those lost resources. So a double charge, both of which goes into mana, which isn't terrible, but she's probably wishing that at least one of those has gone into darkness to help balance that whole thing out. Both players with 7 cards in the grave, so 5 in the hand for Herdberken and 4 in the hand for Onii-Sama. Onii-Sama now has battlefield control as well as HP advantage, but is lagging a little bit behind in terms of resources, so Herdberken can turn this around. Both players have got to be worried about an Illurin coming out from the other one, so neither wants to drop it too early. Let's see what Herdberken decides to do here. I mean, a base removal spell. Okay, goes for a revive. That's going to take a lot of damage there and give Onii-Sama back a lot of cards. 4 of them to be precise, so Onii-Sama is going to be very, very happy about that. Let's see what Herdberken decides to do then against this vampire. So a creature into the center, into a command hunting, of course, would be a fine choice. Forcing Onii-Sama into a reactive position. But perhaps Herdberken has other plans? I don't know. Okay, so a Firebolt, which weakens the vampire enough for a Piolet. Okay. Doesn't leave Herdberken with anything out onto the field, so that does give Onii-Sama free reign now to either charge up and move into a control position, or gives the opportunity to charge up a couple of times and then drop a mana creature. Goes for a revival into the hand. Only costs 4 rather than the 8 damage it would otherwise have cost. A charge up on the second action and an aggressive mana creature, as predicted, into the center field there to force Herdberken into a reactive stance. So let's see, Herdberken's still got to be afraid of that potential Illurin, both players with more than enough nature to summon her out if they want to. So let's see what he decides to go for here. The Black Spirit, of course, only has 11 HP, so it's easy to kill. An elephant comes out in front of the Black Spirit that is not going to kill the Black Spirit. Perhaps Herdberken is just hoping for a block right now and then a removal on the next turn so that they can get 5 damage straight out. Possible. A charge on the first turn from Onii-Sama, and a charge on the second, and a command hunting to take care of that elephant. Okay, so Onii-Sama playing it quite aggressively here, not worrying too much about the slight resource disadvantage that she finds herself on, just trying to keep that pressure up. Undine Korra comes out in a defensive position, and Magician Masked Field in an aggressive position. So that's actually pretty good. The Assistant Ana Yeah, I mean, right of center might have been a little bit better to protect against, you know, potential hunt and so on and so forth. Out comes the Amantur's blue spell circle. That's going to allow the black spirit to kill that without too much difficulty. The magician, are we about to see an arrow of revenge? Good job. We are about to see an arrow of revenge. There it is. The arrow of revenge, allowing the black spirit to land the finishing blow. Congratulations, Duel Onii-Sama, and very well played there to Hertbergen. Thought you might have turned it around there with that defensive, aggressive play, but not quite. That arrow of revenge landing the finishing blow. So, well played to both players there, and congratulations to Onii-Sama, who moves up into the finals. It will be Gin-Tonics versus Onii-Sama. Ladies and gentlemen, place your bets. We are going to now have a short 5-10 minute break to allow Onii-Sama to rearrange their deck if necessary, which is only fair because Gin-Tonics has had, you know, the 5 or 10 minutes during that particular fight. So, 5 or 10 minute break now. If anybody wants to go to the toilet before the finals, now would be an excellent chance. If anybody wants to cook up a batch of popcorn, now would be great. So let's see. Exciting, good game, good game, good game. The combos, lol, sick move. Yeah, wow, good game, nice. Swat's cheering for Sabro already. Pablo, damn, I don't know who to root for. I know this is going to be a real slug match, this one between Gin-Tonics and Onii-Sama, both of whom have been playing at the top of their form for this entire tournament so far. Kengi is predicting that the new legend is going to be Sabrosona, but could go either way. Could go either way. James highlights Gin-Tonics' revenge. Challenger Onii-Sama opposes this possibility. Yes. Either way, whoever wins this fight, a new legend will rise. And whoever wins this one will, of course, be granted the title Legend alongside Vertsud and Kengi, winners of our previous 2 tournaments, and will be granted an automatic invitation into the Legends tournament at the end of the year, wherein they will be given the opportunity to win real cash money prizes. I should get sponsors during the break. Yeah, well, if anybody wants to sponsor me, I would be okay with that. Basically, I need money. John James, seriously intense games. Yes. Kengi wants Onii-Sama to beat Jin for revenge. Yes, for knocking Kengi out in round 1. Alright, so 4 more minutes, and then we will start the finals. 4 more minutes. Woo! You take over, Samurai Quack. I need a nap. Ugh. You can't say that on air! Sooty, don't eat my duck. My dog is going for my duck. Okay, here is the sponsor of the tournament. Come here. My name is Sooty, and I endorse this tournament. Good boy. Okay, where were we at? Fur in my mouth. Wait, so Kengi will still be able to play in the competition because he's led. Yes, he will be allowed to play in the Legends tournament. Kengi, Samurai Duck. Yes, he's back. Don't worry. But he's not allowed to say such things. Mr. X, nostalgic seeing all these cancer-free decks. Yes. If you want to see cancer-free decks, tune in to my live streams and my tournaments. We do not allow cancer decks. Virtue Doggo, cutie, yes. Pablo, I'm reporting the stream for rubber duck abuse. I need like a little cut in that says, beep, technical difficulties. 2 minutes. Onii-Sama and Gin-Tonics, 2 minutes. Not 4, 2. 2 minutes. And yes, with the new EXT and mutant cards coming out, look forward to more and more cancer. Wouldn't it be nice to be rich and to be able to buy my way into victory? No, it wouldn't actually. That would be very boring. If you're not using weird underdog cards, what the hell are you doing? Pablo, MD needs to make matches and citing a thing. They do, yes. They really, I mean, you know, if they push the esports side of the thing, they could do very well, but they're not interested. So what, your anti-cancer strategy is not going to change, though. I think you mean not going to change anything? yeah, I mean, it's not going to... I'm not expecting my anti-cancer mentality to sweep Mabinogi Duel and, you know, teach everybody the error of their ways. Next. Go Gin-Tonics. Okay. Sounds like a Godzilla bad guy. 1 minute. 1 minute. Gin-Tonics and Onii-Sama 1 minute. 1 minute. And this one is for all the marbles. The honor, the glory, the title of legend. I'll have to draw up a proper brackets thing. Mr. X, the FBI is here. Come out with your hands in the air and hand over the duck. Look, if I put my hands in the air, the duck's going to go flying again, okay? It seems like it's going to be compounding my felony. What's up, dog? My dog wants dinner, but he can't have it. SWAT, and the chance to win $50. Don't forget that. Yes, the chance to win $50. $50 at least. I mean, it'll be in a few months' time from now, so who knows? I might have managed to scrape together enough money to increase the prize pool. It may be for more money than $50. Maybe $100. Who knows? But yes. Alright, I'm going to have to let the R count out. He's too excited now. Back in 30 seconds. Come on, sit. Okay, and we're back. Alright, so Onii-Sama and Gin-Tonics, if you guys are ready, please let me know in the chat, and we will begin the finals. Onii-Sama and Gin-Tonics, please let me know if you're ready. Kengi, they nerfing cards they should not, and allowing other cards that is only rich players get to be strongest. So, yeah, they are after your money. Yes. I mean, this isn't really... I don't think they're keeping it a secret anymore. I mean, they're pretty open about the fact that they are just interested in getting the whales to pay them money now. I mean, they're not hiding it. Gran Capra, I side with the tasty one. Well, that would be me. I apologize for that. Sebrasone is ready. Gin-Tonics is ready. Good. Excellent. All right, let's spin the duck. So this time, if the duck is facing... Actually, on camera, let's say if the duck is facing this way, Onii-Sama, if the duck is facing that way, Gin-Tonics. All right? So, whoosh. What is that? Okay. Onii-Sama, please send a challenge to Gin-Tonics. Onii-Sama, please send the challenge. Pablo, the great tasty one. Yes, that's one of my many names. Okay, so I see Onii-Sama online. Okay, a couple of people are cheering on Onii-Sama. Who's going to cheer on Gin-Tonics? I know Nyx is. There's Gin-Tonics is online. Good, good. Alright, so Onii-Sama, please send the challenge. And I find this quite fun. Gin-Tonics, who's a rank 1, and Onii-Sama, who's a rank 20. And both of them are in the finals. So there you go. Rank means nothing. James, the tourney will end with a bang. Well, that's for the after the 9 PM watershed. Vertude, fireworks, finals. Evil Bard. Okay, calm down, guys. Don't calm down at all. More hype, more hype. Looks like they're transitioning in. So as soon as it goes blue, we'll move in. Hell yeah, the finals. All right. Okay, here we go. Onii-Sama sent the challenge, so it's Onii-Sama whose side we will spectate from. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the finals. Gin-Tonics versus Onii-Sama. Both players running the L hero. Onii-Sama opens with an aggressive elf, worked out in the past, but Gin-Tonics does have enough gold for a Goblin Shredder, which we know that he packs, and there's the Goblin Shredder. Down goes that elf. That's got to be a bit unfortunate for Onii-Sama. Let's see what they do to answer that. Out comes the Magic Missile, so still decent resource trades, but Gin-Tonics has taken a resource lead with that play. Let's see if he goes for something aggressive to take advantage of the extra resources, or if he's just going to go defensive and maintain the resource lead. Okay, goes aggressive, dropping a giant rock golem, which at, what is that, 12? Yes, at 12 HP, effective HP value is going to cause some difficulty for Onii-Sama. Let's see what she decides to go for. And probably just sitting there going, giant what now? Onii-Sama goes for the charge, going to take that 3 damage. Gin-Tonics levels up. Onii-Sama is going to have to follow suit, so that's going to be 6 free damage off from Gin-Tonic's side of the field. That works out very nicely for Gin-Tonics. Now has 2 actions to either go aggressive or to just keep on generating those resources. Let's see what he decides to do here. Both players, of course, extremely talented, very, very skilled. Goes for a level 2 Rise of the People. Interesting. We've seen that at level 3 before, but a level 2 Rise of the People. Now at level 2, I think they just give 1 light resource back, but that is still something that Onii-Sama is going to need to worry about. Between the two of them, there's 11 damage out on the field. That is not something that is very easy to ignore. Out comes a skeleton in front of the citizen, which is an interesting block, and a command hunting to take care of the golem. Now, Gin-Tonics may let that citizen die in order to generate some light resources, or he could remove the skeleton with a holy missile to allow that 8 damage to go through unchecked. Either one would, of course, be equally valid plays. Out comes that golden garden cat. That's a big threat there for Onii-Sama. He's going to let that citizen die, probably setting up the skeleton for a PLA on the next turn. That golden garden cat, though, on Onii-Sama's side, it's got to be answered by Onii-Sama. PLA is going to come out. That is going to kill the citizen, but of course is going to also give Gin-Tonics back some light. There's some more. One of the light resources back. There's another light resource back. There's 2 more light resources back, thanks to 1 from the Golden Garden Cat and 1 from just at the beginning of the turn. So Gin-Tonics is taking a pretty good resource lead here, but Onii-Sama does have battlefield control. Gin-Tonics leading by 11 HP. That's not as definitive as it might seem, though. Gin-Tonics is almost ready to level up, so it's a bit tricky. You can do a holy missile into vampire and then level up, or you can just let the garden cat die. It looks like the garden cat is just going to be allowed to die. The fiery zealot comes out in front of the skeleton, which is a nice block there. Nothing Onii-Sama can really do about that, unless they want to go for an amateur's blue spell circle, which they do. Interesting choice there. That does leave Onii-Sama with 11 damage out onto the field at level 3 and puts Gin-Tonics into a much more reactive position. A PLA, of course, onto the skeleton will work out very well. A holy missile into the vampire would work fine, but it would leave Gin-Tonics with nothing on the battlefield unless he chose to use his 3rd action for that, and then that means, of course, no charging. Gin-Tonics with 5 in the grave, Onii-Sama with 4 in the grave and 2 on the field. PLA, of course, comes out in front of that skeleton, no big surprise there. The question is, how will Gin-Tonics choose to answer that vampire? A charge up, which goes into nature, is probably quite happy about that. Helps to balance that whole thing out a little bit. Hunter PLA is, of course, going to give a lot of nature back as well. And another charge is going to let that vampire go. Interesting choice. 777. Lucky 7s on Gin-Tonics' side, and this is going to be the first time that Onii-Sama has managed to land a blow against Gin-Tonics' HP. Goes for a triple charge, probably. Just going to maintain battlefield control, try to regain some of those resources. There we go. The resources are now beginning to even out. Onii-Sama still running a little bit behind there. Gin-Tonics forced to revive, takes the 5 damage, gives Onii-Sama back some of the cards, and out come the citizens. 1 in front of the vampire, which is not really ideal. And will Gin-Tonics decide to remove it? No, just goes for a charge up, which goes into gold. Onii-Sama's turn now. The PLA, of course, can't kill the citizens at level 3, so the previous tactic won't work. Out comes the Magician Mask Field, and the Assistant Anna goes down or in the center, right next to the Vampire, which is useful for any potential command hunting plays. 2 more actions to go. Could go for a double charge, could try to answer at least one of those citizens. Let's see what she decides to go for. Okay, so a charge up on the 2nd action. And on the 3rd, an elf in front of the citizen, which is an interesting play. The citizen, of course, won't be able to kill the elf before the elf kills the citizen, but if Gin-Tonics happens to have, well, I mean, a flame emission, a hunt onto the Magician Mask Field, and then a flame emission would wipe that whole thing out. So, well, there's the hunt. Are we going to see the flame emission? There's the flame emission. Takes care of the elf, the vampire, and Anna in one fell swoop. A charge up on the final action, I would imagine. No real reason to do anything else. There we go. And that is a tasty 10 damage coming out from Gin-Tonics' side into Onii-Sama. Onii-Sama really feeling the burn here. What's that? 13 HP differential at this point. But she has managed to gain a bit of a resource lead here. Let's see if she can make good use of it. Drops a Black Spirit down in front of the Citizen and a Piolet in front of the weakened Citizen. So that's going to give 2 light resources back to Gin-Tonics. The Black Spirit, of course, will kill the Citizen before the Citizen can kill the Black Spirit. There's no way the Citizen will land the finishing blow there, but Gin-Tonics may decide to use a removal spell onto that Black Spirit just to force a little bit more pressure onto Onii-Sama's HP. Dragon Hunter Fry comes out. That is actually going to kill that Black Spirit, combination of 2, and of course will deal an extra 2 damage to Onii-Sama. I assume another, just a couple of charges here to finish off. Yep, a couple of charges here to finish off. There goes the Fry. There's the extra damage coming out. So 11 damage now on Gin-Tonics' side. Onii-Sama with 7 cards in the grave, so only, 5 in the hand. Almost certainly going to be forced into a revival, which is going to hurt a lot, take her down to 8 HP, which of course would leave Gin-Tonics with Fatal on the board. So a very awkward situation to find herself in. Nevertheless, she does have enough resources that there are some potential answers here. Piolet is not going to work. The Black Spirit didn't manage to get any damage off onto the Citizen. So no free removals here this time around, but perhaps something else. An Illurin is always a possibility, although she's got to fear the amount of nature resource that Gin-Tonics has, and a potential Illurin from that side, as we know from Kenki's fight that Gin-Tonics does pack Illurin as a potential card. A revival as predicted, which is going to really hurt. Onii-Sama now really does need to answer these threats. Removing the Citizen, unfortunately, is just going to give Gin-Tonics back some more resources. An aggressive Black Spirit in the middle into a command hunting, which is going to take care of the Fry, the biggest threat that's currently on the board. Gin-Tonics' turn. Onii-Sama going really low with resources now, so a Hunt or something, or a Paralyzer Illurin, which he doesn't need to worry about. Since he doesn't need to worry about an Illurin from Onii-Sama's side. And a Fiery Zealot, just absolutely no mercy here on Gin-Tonics' side, going for a full court press. Any one of these creatures now can kill Onii-Sama. She has to be able to remove all 3 of them, or she will lose on the next turn. Looks like she may be doing a sportsman-like finish, though. A single charge which goes into mana, another charge which goes into nature. We're going to see a spot. Yep, there's the sportsman-like third charge. Gin-Tonics goes for 1, 2, 3. And the Citizen of all creatures lands a finishing blow, securing Gin-Tonics a victory in this tournament. Well played to Onii-Sama there. Very, very excellent fight. And Gin-Tonics, congratulations as our new legend. Gin-Tonics. Okay, wow. Whew, okay, good lord, that was intense. All right, good game. Damn, says Pablo, good game, awesome game. Yep, good game. Good game, congrats, Gin-Tonics. Kenki, rip my prediction. Well, Kenki, at least you have the satisfaction of knowing that you, as a legend, lost to another legend, right? So there's that. Felicidad, Gin-Tonics. Mr. X, I blame the elf. Don't underestimate a citizen, Lukaku. Yep, never underestimate a citizen. Gin-Tonics, gracias. Yes. Grats. Congratulations to Gin-Tonics. A very well-earned victory there. And extremely well played as well on Onii-Sama's side. Woo! Okay, so. Yes, Citizens. That Rise of the People turned out to be a damn good card in this tournament, right? Just real good stuff on that Rise of the People. Okay, so, Gin-Tonics, that makes you our 3rd legend. So, on the Discord server, immediately after this tournament is finished, I will add the legend role and color to Kengi, Gin-Tonics, and Vertsud. All 3 of you now have a guaranteed invitation to the end-of-year legendary tournament, where you will have a chance to win real cash money. Okay, so that was funny. It was impressive is what it was on both players' sides. Kengi, well, I will make sure I never lose to him again. Well, you're going to have to practice, aren't you? Everyone, all of the legends are going to need to put in a lot of practice so that they can all overcome. SWAT, Goblin Shredder, the real MVP. Goblin Shredder was a dang good card in this entire tournament. Yep. Oh, yeah. So Goblin Shredder, I think, out of the entire tournament is probably the MVP of the whole tournament. But in Gin-Tonics' particular deck, Rise of the People and Dragon Hunter Fry actually turned out to do a surprising amount of work. Evil Bard, nature is too powerful. Too powerful. Well, not really, because Goblin Shredder was the real MVP, and Goblin Shredder completely shuts down nature. That's quite funny, really. But yes, nature is an insanely powerful camp. Lucarcry, Kengi, I can be your sparring partner. Pablo, Shredder, and Lorna with the real threats. Lorna was a big threat. Yep, Lucarcry used Lorna very well throughout the entire tournament, right up until the semi-finals. And we saw a couple of other people using Lorna too, very effectively. Yep. SWAT, of course, if there were gimmicks allowed, the outcome would be different. Yes, well, if there were gimmicks allowed, everybody would have been running Lilith decks, wouldn't they? Or, well, they would just have been running Lilith decks. No point in running an anti-gimmick deck. Because if your opponent's also running an anti-gimmick deck, then God knows. Mr. X, the first move immediately puts you in a disadvantage. Not necessarily, no. One of Kengi's decks, for example, Magician Masterfield and Miss Shelley, it uses a light elf. That puts you at an advantage. Now, there's no mutants allowed in this particular tournament, of course, but going first can still be a positive thing. As we've seen a few times there, when the person who went first actually managed to drop, say, an elf or something like that that couldn't be answered by their opponent. Okay, so Kenki and Luke are going to be partners in the tag team tournament, in the team tournament. Yes. Okay, so the next tournament, we're going to have a little bit of a break from this, a few days break from talking about tournaments, and then no live stream tomorrow because we've had 3 days in a row now. But there will be a live stream on Friday, and we will discuss the possibility of another tournament in May, which will probably be a team tournament just for fun. But we'll have to run some tests to make sure that will work. Pablo, now Lock is greater than Lilith. No, it's not. Swad, Lucarcry, you're selling me out that quickly? Well, could be. Want to train with everybody and get better and better? Good attitude. Karthik, I'm new, so can someone tell me what gimmick decks are? Gimmick decks are decks that generally have like one particular card that is their only win condition. They cannot win without using this one card. Their entire deck is dedicated to allowing this one card to come out. It requires very little skill. It's more just going down a checklist of things that you need to do. And it's basically unbeatable unless you use unless you use a dedicated anti-gimmick deck against it. So, the standard Lilith, Nereva, Undine kind of combo, it's a gimmick that's unanswerable unless you're specifically running anti-gimmick decks or cards. Virtude wants to train with Luke. Who's going to train with anybody? Yep, Luke has a lot of bragging rights here, having made it right up into the semi-finals, so definitely worth training against him. Rai Senpai team tournament, yes, next month if we do a tournament. Probably team tournament. Mr. X, fixed decks with disgusting synergies equals gimmick deck. Yeah, that's also a decent definition. If their decks with a specific win condition, if they lose a duel, yep, that's another good definition. Kengi, what will happen if me and Virtude will be the tag team partners? You can't be tag team partners. In the team tournament, every team can, if they want to, have a legend in the team, but you are not allowed to have more than one legend. There can only be one legend in each team. So Kengi, Virtude, and Gin-Tonics, none of you guys can be on the same team as each other. Lucarcry, then Onii-Sama and Gin-Tonics will team up to shut you down. Yeah, also possibility. Okay, so excellent. I am going to post the invitation to the Arcanauts Discord server into the chat. Should be in there now. So, if anybody is interested in getting involved in next month's tournament, be sure to jump into the Discord server that I have just linked. We're not opening it up for participant submissions or registrations just yet, but as soon as we are, that will be where it happens, and we'll be doing all the discussions and stuff then. So if you're interested in future tournaments, stop by the Discord. My apologies, more hiccups. So can we finish the rest on Discord? I gotta go. Yes, we're wrapping up now. Don't worry about it. So yes, jump into the Discord if you are at all interested in getting involved in the next tournament, or if you just want to share decks, get some ideas, advice, if you want to discuss anything from, anime to Mabinogi Duel to Duel of Summoners to whatever the hell I happen to live stream. Just jump into the Discord. Everyone's welcome. And that is it for the tournament. As a reminder, no live stream tomorrow. I think we're all pretty wiped out, but there will be a Mabinogi Duel live stream on this coming Friday, so be sure to tune in for that. We will be discussing the possibility of a May tournament, which may or may not be a team tournament. So hopefully I will see most of you guys in Discord in just a bit, where we can all gather around and toast to Gin-Tonics and Onii-Sama for a fantastic finals, and I will start handing out the Legends titles to everybody else. Me and Samurai Quack will see you on Friday for the next Mabinogi Duel live stream. So be good, and if you can't be good, be careful.